Morning, everybody. So, welcome to the live stream. Got a little bit of a programming change for you, go figure. But I think y'all are used to rolling with me enough to know that that tends to be the case. So, put this back here. There we go. The string always bugs me on its own front. All right. So, a little bit of a programming change today, but we are still doing flowers. I got my Mexican sunflowers that need to get in. But I think what we're going to do, make this look a little obnoxious, but I just want this out of my face for a little bit. There we go. There we go. So what I'm looking for today, there you go, is we've got our Mexican sunflowers going, but also, as with most things, I went to go get my mulch today, and I ended up buying some lilac bushes too, and a mountain ash tree. So we're going to be doing that as well at some point during the stream. So yeah, it's good stuff today though. Looks like we got a little bit of overcast today, which I'm pretty excited about. It's gonna be nice. My neighbor's dogs are watching the live stream, which is great. You can just hear they're getting their announcements in. So the plan today is get basically our lilacs in, get them centered. They're gonna do their thing and grow eventually. I mean, lilacs are gonna spread. And these are, let's see, let's clear these things out. These are the purple flower ones to match up with my white fence. I didn't want to have the white lilacs. Something that was going to basically I want something that was going to have a good contrast to it. So, I'll show you guys that real quick. Yeah. They've got the little yippy dogs next door. I mean, I can't say much. My collie, so much as like the wind blows and she's yelling barking at the top of her lungs that everybody walks by. So, these are going to be putting in today along here. And then I get my Mexican sunflowers. You see those. They end up being, they're an annual. They end up being a bush that's like 5 to 7 feet tall, about yay big, give or take. And it's gonna be nice and wide, lots of red daisy-like flowers. That's that. So that's kind of the plan today. So let me get this over here. And we'll just kind of work this in sections today, I think. Just kind of work our way down. I think it'll be all right. So appreciate everybody joining today. Normally it's a afternoon thing, but this afternoon I've got some stuff I got to be doing, but also just wanted to get out here. We're supposed to get some rain here at some point. Not like we did last weekend where it basically just rained from noon on Saturday until Monday. Or gonna have something like that, but it's gonna be close. Again, as always, as I recommend, for those of you who are, new to gardening or, just getting into it, find yourself a decent pair of knee pads. You'll be very thankful you did. So, all right, actually, I got to read. I want to make sure I read this correctly on the, where'd this go? Here we go. I want to make sure I read this correctly. So, when it comes to you're putting in your bushes and shrubs and stuff, you want to make sure you know what you're getting into as well. So, all right, and that's the idea here. So these get between 6 and 8 foot wide, which is what I want. So they have these placed centered, and also they propagate. Lilacs they're a rhizome, so they propagate underneath, put up more runners, and they just keep spreading, and they'll eventually get huge. So, okay, I like it. And then the other spot we'll be working on today is going to be our Mexican sunflowers. They have been repotted a few weeks ago. You can see, unlike normal, basically regular sunflowers you have, and that's what these are called. You'll see where it's already splitting off, and it's got different heads that are popping out here. So, like I said, it's going to be branching the entire time. And this, I like to see, we'll take a look here, but I've got, it's kind of hard to see on this one here, but you can see we've got roots coming through the bottom there. So, and this has been in this pot now for, I think, 2 weeks. So it should have already reached down here. And these are gonna be really nice. Like I said, we're gonna end up dropping these at. So, but with that, I also just got to make sure I have them placed in a way that they're gonna have plenty of room to to grow. I don't want everybody being smushed to one side, But with that, what I've got also is, while I was there, see with the old Subaru there, I've got 2 yards of mulch that I picked up. So we're gonna take care of mulching this bed that I also have here that we set up from last year. You can see those are the phlox is coming in nice. This stuff, it'll start doing better now. It's going to start getting more sun. This side takes a little bit. This side of the property takes a little while in the season to get a bunch of sun, but on the other side up front, they're already spread to basically double the size. So just going to get them set up with some new. Got my neighbors all coming by. They always laughing I'm out here. Always wonder what I'm doing out here. So anyways, yeah, just going to get some fresh mulch down there. I've got so I've got my bulbs. My spring flowers are coming up right now, which is great. A couple of them here. They weren't the healthiest bulbs when I put in, so I wasn't sure how many were going to make it. And it looks like, I've got some more popping up over here, so they're doing okay. They propagated like I wanted them to, but they definitely struggled a little bit last year. Yeah, they're coming up here. Here. Yeah, they struggled a bit. Okay, here we go. I got another one right here as well. And that's kind of the idea is when I'm setting this up is I've got the spring, I've got the phlox comes in, the bulbs come up, they do their thing, and then then later in the summer I've got the next round of flowers that come up. But we got to get new mulch on this, take care of this as well. So I got a lot to do today. Well, not a lot. It's enough to keep me busy for a minute as we're setting this up. But y'all know this is good times. Good times here. So with that, let me work on getting these spread out here in our Mexican sunflowers. I just kind of want to get everything a little bit staged. Yeah, nothing goes here because that's obviously where the gate is. And I always love it when I have to rethink things. Like my brain's like, Ryan, there's a gate there. I know. Stop thinking about the fact that there's a gate. You're not going to put a shrub here. So, but just the way my brain works. Everybody's enjoying that today. But yeah, I think we're going to have a really nice day out today. It's supposed to be up in the 70s. This guy's going to go right on the corner here. Kind of fill in. So yeah, it's in my neck of the woods too. It's pretty funny this with all my neighbors. They are nonstop, just eyeballing everything I have going on over here. It's so funny. It is a constant. Oh, there we go. This guy came up too. All right, cool. Looking like we're doing pretty good. Let's get down here and see what we can do to get to work. We'll do this. Maybe this might be the right answer. Let's see. I'm gonna do that. All right. So here, I wanted this to kind of fill in these areas here. I can dig out some today. We're gonna dig these out, reset all these. Well, I'm gonna have that there. Dig these out. Yeah. So a little bit of prep work here. I got some leftover sod that I wanted to fill in some of my bare areas, which I've got most of them filled in now, which is good news. But that also means I got all this leftover space here that I've got to kind of do something with this stuff here. And you can see I've got, my backfill that they have here is this whole lot it had some good soil on it, but man, this is there was an basically old dumping ground too for come on, Ryan, use your words, for our glaciers that we had, the ice caps over Michigan. So this whole area is where my house is. I've got creek beds running through here. I got all sorts of random stuff, but the backfill they used, God bless them, was 100% Lake Michigan sand. But So yeah, again, for those just joining in, we've got a little change of plan, but nothing crazy. We got our Mexican sunflowers are coming in. Gonna be popping them right here, but also when I went to go get mulch today, I ended up also just grabbing some lilac bushes. You know, for those of us that know, trip to the home store, if we're not grabbing at least one plant, we're wrong, right? Well, I also grabbed a mountain ash tree as well, which is over here. So that's getting done today too. And that was more of a target of opportunity for that mountain ash. I wanted to have one in here. The birds absolutely love it, especially over the winter months. It gives them something to to chomp on. So I want to make sure that they were good. But with that, the problem that comes up is now today I'm putting in a mountain ash tree when I wasn't necessarily planning on it. So there we go. Break this up a little bit. Clear out all these grass bits that I had. Like I said, this is just going to get a hearty dose of mulch over the top of it here. To get it kind of leveled off here. Same thing here. We're going to replant this grass, I think, to fill in these spots. I want to kind of clean it up a little bit first. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. It's supposed to be a pretty nice weekend across the way there. Wherever you guys are watching from, welcome. Welcome to the live stream. Like I said, normally I do these Monday through Friday, like in the afternoons once I'm done with my client work. Be hopping out in the garden. Saturdays, this has been more of a thing, doing something, first thing Saturday after I, wake up and obviously get to sleep in a little bit. So, and we're getting more and more opportunities for good times, to do these live streams basically on the weekends, which is fun too, because we get a lot of folks on here that we don't normally get during the week. Okay, I think this last bit here. I think you're all right there. Okay, there we go. That looks better. Now I can figure out what to do with this here in a second. Right? That is all cool. Okay, now I can actually see what I'm working with here. And it's the thing with new property too, especially for any of you who might be looking to get new property. As far as setting them up, it is 100% an adventure. I'll say that much. All right, so I'll walk you through what I'm looking through here. So obviously I got my fence posts. I put these in last September. They've got cement on them. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of marking off where the edges of the cement is here. And what I'm going to do is, knowing this plant where it's going to be at, probably going to pop it, I think right here. Just kind of want to give it a quick little look. Make sure this is kind of where I want it. Because again, this Mexican sunflower, this is an annual. It grows into a 5 to 7 foot bush. So 4 feet wide, a whole bunch of red daisy-like flowers. Gonna have them running along the whole thing here, and then we're gonna be putting our lilac bushes in between them to fill out. So what I want to have is basically I got a red pop here, I got some purple against the white. I've got, see in the far there, I don't know if you can see the color or not, but I've got a crabapple tree back there, along with there's a mulberry tree back there too. So I get these pops of color all the way along, and then where you're at, I'm in that area there where that bed's at. I've got some purple phlox and a whole bunch of different bulbs that are flowers that be going throughout the year. In addition, on this side, and we'll see, I've got my whole I've got my little fruit orchard getting set up. So that's going to be flowering at different times as well too. So it'll be all right. Okay. So I think that's about the spot where I want this thing. I think it's about the spot where I want this here. It's going to be okay. Now, what you see is I'm up against, though, and that's part of the reason I'm bringing in some of them, they're wood chips too, but also be breaking apart the soil so I can get this in. I am dealing with sand for backfill here. So again, you're moving into your new property. If you have built like we did, you got to be careful what they use for backfill and just be aware of what you're dealing with. So I've got, I got topsoil about, I got actually in this spot, about 3 inches of topsoil. But you go down, it's a significant amount of backfill with sand. So a couple of my sod pieces here are going to be sacrificed for their topsoil, so I can mix that in with the sand to help out with moisture retention. These Mexican sunflowers, they need good draining soil, which the sand is good for that. But I also do need to have soil in there, obviously for nutrients for the rest of the microbes and the rest of the party to kind of show up to, right? They gotta have a spot to live. I want to encourage them in there. So we're just using a little bit of the loam and sacrificing a few of my areas here. But my mountain ash tree just got blown over a little bit there. 1 second. Sorry, buddy. Let's get you. Kind of want to get you settled here somewhere. I don't have to worry about this as much. But I'm going to place you right against my vehicle here. This will keep you from blowing over. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. So anyways, and my mountain ash that I picked up, the wind gave it a little bit of a topple over there. So anyway, I was saying, I'm mixing in so just some of the loam in with the sand I got there, simply just to make sure that I'm going to help with, one, there'll be some organics that'll go in there, but also just for water retention. It'll still drain well, again, is what you want for this Mexican sunflower. But end of the day, it's going to do okay here. But it's just more for me than anything. And also I'm going to make sure I mulch over the top of it, so it'll be set. So you can see now I got a little bit brown. I got a little bit of black in there, a little bit of brown. Feel a lot better about that mix than I did with anything else. So let's backfill this area here. So again, I hope everybody's having a good day so far. We got some good plans for the weekend here. Wife and I say we already went into town. We got to head up to the next town up for a little bit. We got some additional shopping to do later today. So this is my little moment here. And then I figured I would do the announcement of going live here for you folks. I got a lot of you have caught me on my live stream, or you just know me from my shorts that I have out there. Like I said, I try to go live Monday through Friday when I can. Obviously, I've got client work. I'm a business coach by trade. So, of course, my clients are going to take priority. Got to be able to afford to pay for these things, right? But beyond that, wherever else I have the opportunity to, I will be out here getting my hands in some dirt, doing some good work here. So, okay. For all of that work, all that effort, I'm finally at the point where I'm actually putting something in the ground. Go me. And with this, just remember, especially when you're starting off, treat these plants like you would anything else with a tree. We want to make sure that the hole is wide enough, not just to support it, but you want to make sure you loosen up that soil all the way around it. So that way, those roots that are just getting started in there, they have, loose soil basically to break into, because you want their energy being spent on growing up, not trying to fight through and figure out how to basically make roots. We don't want that. We want making roots easy peasy for these guys. All right, then my other little thing I have is, after I get it in there, just around the edges, not on the plant itself, but just out, to reward those roots as they make their way around, I just throw a little extra little plant food in there for them. So, especially considering, they've earned it. They made their way over and supporting this plant. So, Okay, there is that guy. That first one is in there. I was talking with the guy at the market today too, where I go and I get my supplies from. We were both kind of just chatting about the weather here in Michigan because it's wild. We are, as I put out in my video, my most recent long form I had out today about solarizing killing off my cover crop. I can't. It's going to be almost 80 today. It's May 4th. May the 4th be with you, by the way. But it's May 4th here. It's supposed to be freezing cold in Michigan right now. So, we're a little confused, but I'm not arguing about it. It's just I don't want to get stuff in the ground too early and then end up having to have an issue where it doesn't survive because we get that late season frost, which tends to happen. But he felt pretty confident too that we were in a good spot where it should be okay. So, fingers crossed. All right, so next on the list here is going to be this lilac, as I mentioned before. And always make sure you're, again, I always keep these. I always keep them around. You want to make sure you're reading them and understand. So I'm going to give you an idea quickly what this is going to be. This is again, purple flowers in our lilac. Understand this is a rhizome, so it propagates under the ground. So that's why it always has those, it shoots off. It has those shoots that come up, and they're not suckers. They end up being new plants if you want to treat them that way. And I do have another lilac bush behind me. I just don't want to spend the time trying to propagate out here, basically for this area. So, anyways, always make sure you read through these things ahead of time. So in this case, know what these need to bloom. That's another thing when you're dealing with your flowering type plants. Understand how much sun they need. Is sun they need in order to actually bloom. That's something people forget about from time to time. And for these, they need full sun. So they need 6 hours a day. They need between 6 and 8 hours of sun a day in order to make sure that they're blooming and they're healthy. So that's why I'm here. I've got this side over here. Make sure it is the east, this direction. So the sun comes up, it's hitting it. And by the summertime, sun's directly overhead. This is getting 8 hours of sun a day, 6 to 8 hours easy. So these are going to be able to bloom just fine. And they're going to get nice and big. These plants get up to 12 foot tall and about between 6 to 8 feet wide, which is what I want. So with that, understanding that, I want to face this. That's the other thing. So when you're looking at your plants too, when they're first starting off, bring you guys a little closer as we move along here. Things to keep in mind. So I'm going up against a fence here, right? Nothing crazy, but you can see the plant has already got kind of a lean to it, right? You can see it wants to grow that way. So I am going to be there for it. I'm all for that. And when you look at the plant, much wider that way, right? Much more narrow this way. But let the plant grow where it wants to grow. Don't try to fight it. And so this way, you can see I already got some pretty little blooms out here getting ready to start. Super excited for that. I'm literally going to have this guy just like this. I think that's exactly how I'm going to place it in here. And I want to have it just far enough back here too, so it has some room to fill out. I don't want to have it stressed. You don't want to pop it just like that, because now when you look at the bottom here, right, if you plant this thing too close, guess where it's sending runners to, right? It's going to have runners going, they're going to happen. They're going to pop over there. So we want to have it here. And if it's going to put up any runners, I want to give it some room to pop in and fill it behind it as well, versus having lilacs on the other, a bunch of lilacs popping up on the other side of my fence. So, and then we just work on propagating it this way. Now, one of my things I do, and I'm a little different with this, you'll hear different people say it other ways, but I don't prune the first year if I can help it. I may have some where it might be dangerous, like you can see where a limb is just going to break off because it's just not ready, but I don't prune the first year. It's just not something I do. So I just kind of let them go, and then after that first year going into the fall, but definitely in the spring, first thing, Then I come through and prune to kind of shape and guide it where I want it to go. So, but again, like I said, it's first year on the property, so hey, I just figured it out, you know. So welcome everybody to the stream. It's good to have you all on here. Again, I'm Ryan Howe. Most of y'all, it's good to have, you know, good to see you all here. Typically, as I mentioned, we are normally a all right, I want to get the same measurement on this each way. So that's the other spot. I'm going to make sure I got the same measurement to see if I can figure this out. That's not going to be it. What's a good measurement for this? If I had my tape measure, I'd do it that way. Or you know what? That's what I'll do. I got it. Got the measurement. We're all set. Okay. So let me just put my first little hole here so I know where the... All right, I know where that's at. I'm going to dig out my first hole, and then we're going to do a second one. So I like to start... I like to get my first hole done here. So I know what the middle looks like. And if you just follow the directions that are outlined on the basically on your planting plan, you'll never go wrong. And again, whenever, for those that were here when we were doing basically when I was putting the orchard in that's over here, you know, your goal whenever you're planting your trees and your shrubs is you want wide, not deep. You want wide, and you want it to basically be twice as wide as the base. So this is carry the 4 square root of 2 right about there. That's right. Very, very specific, very specific measurements we have here when we're doing this. Don't, again, the biggest thing is, and you'll hear me say this all the time, it's my favorite thing to say, don't rush, don't hurry. Take your time on these things. You know, I know there's a desire to want to get a lot of this stuff done and be able to move on and whatnot, but just take your time on it, folks. A lot of this stuff here you need to make sure you are, you know, doing it right. And when you hurry, that's where you stress out your plants because you haven't prepared their little home well enough. They're gonna be hanging out here with you for a while, so you know, why not prepare their home like you want them to stay for a minute, you know? Now with that, there's also another thing you can do. There's some folks that do this. So you notice how I made that ring, right? If you want to, and I'm not one of those people, you can then just take this little donut that I made of the sod. I don't recommend it, but I will see that with folks. You can wrap it right back or again around on top of your plant if you want. I don't recommend that though, because this doesn't really let a lot of water through. And you need to make sure you have plenty of soil, or you want water getting through to this plant to start with for sure. All right, so there you go. Let's get this first hole dug up here so it can set in. Again, I'm just trying to mix in some of the topsoil that's a little further down for this. All right. So yeah, the latest my latest long form video was pretty fun. It was a lot of fun to do. I've got my new computer, so rendering videos on my old computer was a bit what's that word I want to say? Challenging. Let's go with that. You can hear that my poor computer just like moaning, like, not another video, Ryan. No. All right, so give this guy a couple little snacks in there. And again, this is just basically some shake and pour fertilizer that I have. Nothing crazy. Okay. Now, all right, so that's the other piece here. So one thing I want you to remember too when you're grabbing, you're dealing with your plants, you're holding onto the stem and the trunk or whatever for support. Don't lift your plant by the actual, you don't want to be just pulling this thing up. Just use it for stability and pull it out that way, okay? Now, One more thing I want you to be looking at here as well. Always just give at the top here, give your plants just a little look, to see if you've got any roots that have come up, like that guy right there, and are wrapping around. We don't want that. Because as this shrub gets bigger, that root's going to get thicker, and you don't want to basically growing around it and strangling the plant. Okay, so that can happen, especially with your trees. Not so much with this. So, all right, so let's dig that out. I want to loosen that up just a little bit. Where'd that spade go? That trowel, I should say. Loosen that up. So, okay, come here, friend. There we go. Now the other spot too is you want to make sure that when you actually have your shrub or your plant, like say this is ground level, you always want to make sure that basically the base of the basically the trunk, you want it a little bit low. You want almost like a bowl, so you have water, that the water will get in there and just soak down into your plant for your new one there. All right, so let me take a look at, now I'm just giving this the eyeball test here, right? To make sure that we're in line the best that we can here. Because again, remember, we're looking at which direction has it been growing, and also in this with the shrub, if I've already got it where it's it's spreading out this way, we want to make sure we maintain that. So give it a quick look and take your time. Yeah, I think that's going to be all right. I mean, it already looks like an amazing little bush here. This last bit, I'm just going to go and rough up rough it up just a little bit. And next I got to go grab my hose. I forgot to grab that before I came over here, which won't be that big of a deal because it's just on the other side of this fence. Got that there. Maybe just a little bit more. Set up there. There we go. That's cool. That's gonna have me, yep, 1 boot. That's kind of my magic measurement right now, is gonna be 1 boot. The other spot is I want to make sure this thing is as close to plumb as I can when I start, because it wants to grow up. So let me go grab my hose right quick. Be right back. All right, there we go. And again, when you're starting your new shrubs, your new trees, always give them a nice drink. Not tonight here in Michigan, where I'm at in northern Michigan, we're going to get some rain overnight, which is good. So that obviously helps soak it in. But in the interim, give them a little drink. Help them out. And the phrase that I use on this is you want to try to use almost an obsessive amount of water, especially here because I mentioned before, oh, easy there, buddy. This, I've got a lot of, I basically have a lot of sand in here. So it's going to drain pretty quickly, which I'm watching it just dissipate as we're going, which is fine. Like I said, I've got that other stuff mixed in there, so we're good. All right, so last bit here is we're just going to cover this up, and then, to finish this off, I'm going to have a ton of mulch that's going to go over the top of this to help. Ton of mulch we're going to do. So this basically just going to get sacrificed for backfill here because got a bunch here. What is nice with having sand though, you know, I basically the mess that I'm making here, quote unquote, overnight once it rains, I'll be having it, all my grass will be right back at the top. Excuse me, Mr. Shovel, get out of the way. So yeah, welcome to the stream, everybody. Good to see y'all here. Everybody's hope you all have some good plans for today. Get a chance to get out and enjoy the weather. As I mentioned earlier, there's a group of us, we're still trying to figure out how in the world summer got here so fast in Michigan. I mean, we know climate change is a thing, obviously. It's, you know, whether you see whether it's man-made or not, I'm going to let you all debate that in the comments. But there's no, at least here, the climate has shifted in Michigan dramatically where I'm at over the last 30 years. As somebody who doesn't necessarily like snow, I'm okay with that. But, you know, that's the thing, though. What that does, though, for the growing season and changes kind of when we can put stuff in the ground safely and things like that. So, but here, so I was talking with my guy today. I was telling him, hey, I'm going to start putting my annuals in. He's like, yeah, man, go for it. You should be all right. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's the seal of approval that we're in a safe spot. All right, so I got one done there. So now we're on to the next spot here. I'll just keep on moving you guys down as we're doing this. How's that sound? Just kind of hopscotch as we're going. Yeah, I think that might be the way. So again, putting in these are Mexican sunflowers. I have a short on those if you want to see as far as when I started these from seeds. I don't know, 8 weeks ago now. And they're different than your normal sunflowers, as in, you can see it ends up being a bush. And again, I don't know if sunflowers are exactly what they're like, but what they do is they put out these red daisy-like flowers. This ends up being like a bush that's 5 to 7 feet tall. It ends up being pretty huge. So we will be checking that out today. So let me walk you through the process here of getting this in the ground, specifically here because of where I'm at, right? I'm doing it on my fence line here. It's my brother. He helped me put this in September. So this has been through a winter. It's had a chance to freeze and unfreeze and, and resettle, do all the things that fences like to do that first year. Although I'm sure next year we'll get another thing. But the other thing is understanding what you're dealing with in this area, because I got cement down here, right? So you've got to come down here, dig out a little bit, and find out where that cement line is, especially for this guy. Just to make sure it's going to be safe, because again, this not only goes 5 foot high, but it gets pretty broad too. So where I want to have it at, I just want to make sure that I'm not going to have any issues with the roots basically having trouble running into any cement, which shouldn't be. Now with this, I want you to treat it like, say right now, so I'm planning, obviously I've got our mid-sized container here. And what I want you to remember, treat this just like you're doing with the shrubs here. I'm just checking to see where the cement line is. Okay, there it is right there. Okay. Because you want to dig your hole for these twice as big, twice as wide as as what you're planting. Again, the reason you're doing that, again, twice as wide, not twice as deep, wide for the roots. That's so the roots have plenty of room to spread out and do their thing. Okay, so that should be your goal when it comes to these, is making sure that this is nice and loose as far as property for them to hang out at. Okay, that's what we want. Again, this is just an annual. He's just going in for the year. However, I will be harvesting, depending how I think I'm really going to like this plant, depending how it looks. And you see, definitely time for it to be spreading, for getting in here. Let's take a look at it. So again, treat this just like what I just said with the other one. Kind of give it a look, see where it's at. Make sure what you're doing is all right, and help the plant out. If it's already growing a particular way and you want it filling in a particular way, nothing wrong with helping it out, saying, hey man, you're already going that way. I got you. Okay. There's that. The stuff's going in nice and loose here. Again, I'm gonna be putting mulch on this. The other spot, as I mentioned before, whenever I do these type of plants here, I also just a little bit around the sides here, a little extra fertilizer, so that way when the roots get over there and they've been doing their thing, right, growing and filling in, being stable, and doing all the things that you want the roots to be doing, they get a little treat, right? Hey, thanks for doing all that hard work. Appreciate you. Here's a little snack for you. I'll move this fill over here. I have a feeling I'm gonna need a bunch of it. Cool. All right. That looks pretty good. And as I mentioned before, when you're planting your plants, you always want to have them down just a little bit. Just a little bit. So that way the water, when it comes in, it comes to them. Great. That looks pretty good right there. I'm pretty happy. So let's give a little pull here. There you go. Anyway, no matter how old I get, I still hate hoses. They're the worst. Now I've had these out. I'll give this guy a mist more than anything. Nice and easy here. Now I've had these out multiple times to get out in the wind. I've had the fan blowing in the greenhouse, and I've had the windows and doors open for a while to help kind of get these guys ready so they could start not just hardening off, but also, again, those stems, they need that wind motion to start thickening up. Because right now, earlier, right, they're just wimpy little things. Now they got a little bit more to them. I'm going to get this guy behind you, try to give him a little drink. He's going to get a ton tonight. I'll hit everybody up again here in a little bit, but all right. There we go. And these guys, when it comes down to the Mexican sunflowers, they were watered last night. They were watered this morning. So I was putting that in. It was definitely had plenty of goodness. All right, so back to this again. Let me move you even closer here so you can see how we're doing this. We are on to our next lilac bush. As I mentioned, we're having a bit of a programming change here, where we are doing lilac bushes along with our flowers here. And I also picked up a mountain ash tree. They had one at the market where we went to get our mulch, and that was more of a target of opportunity. I want to have a mountain ash for the birds here on the property. Okay, so this is what we're putting in today. We got a few of these we're doing. I've got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, a total of 5 we're doing over here, right? And as we mentioned before, I'll just walk you through the same thing here again. This is a 8 to 12 foot. It gets the lilac bushes. They obviously get pretty big. They get extremely wide, between 6 to 8 feet wide. I have another one just on the other side of the fence. This. Go through this. Oh, got a branch down. No, I want to take a look at this guy and see how it's already growing and help it out that way. So in this case, again, as you mentioned here, it's going up against the fence, right? So you see how it's wide like this? It wants to grow wants to grow this way. So we're going to help it do that. We're going to find our center spot here. Make sure we're right in the center. Is going to be just a little bit over this way a bit, right here. And then we are going to make sure this is aligned again, because this is a rhizome. Lilac bushes, they're rhizomes. So they spread by their roots. And so this is going to have, not necessarily runners per se, but it's going to have, basically it's going to be sprouting off more and more bushes as we go. So with that, to help it, You know, if it already wants to go this direction, you know, if it already wants to come this direction and that direction, we're going to set it up that way. Okay. I've got a measuring system here, which is quite possibly the best on the planet. There it is. It is pretty much got it eyeballed there. Okay. And with this, when you're handling your, that's one thing. It took me a while to learn that too, and I'm kind of upset how long it took. But when I'm handling the shrubs or the trees, I was a guy. I grabbed them by their stem quite a bit, you know, by their trunk on the tree, and that's a no-no. You know, you want, especially on your new trees that you're planting. That's like definitely a no-no, because you got to remember, most of the new trees that you're getting right from the nursery, they are, you know, they've been propagated from trees. They're just branches, so they haven't firmed up enough to make what would be a trunk yet. So it's still just a branch. So if you're jerking that tree around, which is basically just a branch, it's more likely to break and cause damage. So when you're handling these, handle them by the pot. You can use the stem or the trunk for stability. That's fine. That's not a big deal. But you don't want to be lifting by that stem. That's a no-no. There we go. Okay. Oh, so we had our my first Oriole sightings over the last couple days. Those are always fun when the Orioles come back here to Michigan. I've got a Oriole family that nests in the big oak tree behind my house, which is pretty cool. They're fun to have around. I was saying their chortle, their song is a little weird, but it is what it is. All right, so when you're going through and doing this, remember, you want your hole to be the hole you're putting your bush into, your tree, twice as wide, not twice as deep. You want wide. Again, so those roots, you want them spreading out, not down. All right, so just also, obviously, before you start digging, make sure you know what's on your property. Have them come put some lines in, you know, mark it for you, put the flags down. This is a new property. So I've had this thing marked up a ton. I know where everything, hell, I watch most of the lines go in myself, so I know where they're at. That's not a concern. Okay, so just like last time too, you know, I've got a mostly sand backfill. So we're just mixing up some of this topsoil in there. Okay, so here's my lilac bush. Again, we're just gonna take a measurement on this. Want to make sure that it's aligned for a fence, not for, you know, not the wrong way. Like you do it like this, that's no bueno. We want it like this. The tree wants to grow this way, so we're gonna help it. Cool. A little bit more of that out of there. It's fine. There, cool. All right. Okay. So what we're doing now next is we're going to be obviously taking a look at this to make sure root ball looks fine, but I'm also checking just around the top just to make sure I don't have any large roots that are wrapped around the base of the stem here. Because as this plant grows, and that if there's a stem that's wrapped around here, like this guy right here, if it was wrapped around like this, it's going to keep growing. It'll get thicker. It'll eventually choke off this tree. We don't want that, right? Because roots don't normally grow around, but when it's in a container, right? What other option does it have? If it's roots grow, it's what they do. All right, so we're just going to take a quick look at this to make sure this is in line where I want it. Make sure, I want to make sure it looks pretty. I'm going to turn it just a little bit here. Like that, I think. I've got it growing. In this case, it wants to grow. Let me see this way. That's why I want to double check this stuff here. Which way does this guy want to grow? Got some stuff coming up there. Yeah, I think I want it this way. All right. And as I mentioned, I don't prune my stuff the first year. Second year is going to be all in. We'll do some pruning, but the first year, nah, not something I do. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, that looks pretty good there. I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah. Yep. I think we're good. So let's go and get this in here. This will be really nice in a couple years when all these lilacs fill in. It's gonna look really nice. All right, before we go any further, let's give this guy a good drink. And as I mentioned before, the term I use on this is, you want to apply an obnoxious amount of water when you're first putting it in. Just an obnoxious amount. Don't worry about necessarily overdoing it. This stuff is, especially like in my area too, because where I'm at, this is a very sandy area right near Lake Michigan, but it's also backfill for my house. Where they threw, depending on where you're at, it's a lot of sand in here. So, it's basically just going to drain quick. But also, that's why I remix in some of this loam that I got from when they did my yard, digging it up here. Put it to use and get it over the top here. So, all right, there's that one. Making good time here, folks. We are making good time. So let's get into my next one here. Actually, I grab something real quick. All right, so these things exist for your hose. So I'm specifically putting one of these down here to protect my, not just my shrub here, obviously, it's going to be fine, but on the corner, I'm going to have my Mexican sunflower here. So I'm going to put this in a place to make sure that it is not going to be a problem, cause any issues for my sunflower. So I want this guy to be doing pretty well. Okay. Now, let's change up the view here a little bit. Now, knowing that this thing is going to be obnoxiously large, which I love, I got two of them going in here, which is going to be hilarious, but they work for me. I'm going to plant them right here, so I can at least trim it off a little bit. Okay. That first marker down, we'll just dig her out. So anyways, good times here. As hard as I work to put this grass into, it kills me to be cutting it up like this, but because it was a lot of effort. Larson's Landscaping, They're a client, but they were I was a customer before they were my client. They're the ones that put this in, and man, did they ever do a good job with this thing. If you are looking, you're in West Michigan and you're looking to get some work done, obviously, I mean, they're a client, and obviously I'm just, I don't only work with the right folks, but even if they weren't a client, I'd be telling you, just go to Larson's. They have a good staff. They did really good work on my yard. I mean, it looks really, really good. All right, so let's get this thing buried good here. Size-wise here. Let's go back just a little bit. Again, like I said, you want to make sure that your hole is, again, twice as wide as the plant that you're putting in the ground. Super important. Super duper important. Grab this here. Now, a little tasty treat for them when they get in there. A little bit of fertilizer. Help them out. Yeah, this has been one of the crazier. It's a bit too far down. One of the crazier springs that we've had here in northern Michigan. I don't know what it's like in your area, but this has just been, it's been so confusing. We have the normal storms, right? Rain that comes through, but I mean, between the temperatures, but the ridiculous amount of rain that we're getting at times is pretty wild. Which again, my garden, not upset about. My grass is loving it, but I have to mow my yard, twice a week now. Again, as somebody who didn't have a yard at this time a year ago, and I said I'd be complaining about it. Red, if you're watching, you remember that. I was like, I'm going to be complaining about having to mow here. And I can't wait to be complaining to mow, because for a year I didn't have a yard just because of the backlog and everything. All right, where's this guy at? Let me get this guy a little drink too. We get too far here. Okay. Well, there's the Oriole. They checking out their new. Hey guys, I hear you. I'm getting a tree planted for you in a second. Let's see. Yeah, so it's pretty consistent though, like my neighbors. It's nonstop them coming by watching me and just kind of laughing as I'm, they're always stopping by, asking what I'm doing in the yard, checking out, especially my garden enclosure. It's I want to say it's a bit of a monument at this point, but it's something when you come into Custer now, I guess what I'm understanding is, the folks that I do know, they said, yeah, every time we come into town, we drive by your house to see what's going on in your garden. So, it feels good to hear that, obviously. I'm not going to say I'm not, it make me a little bit, I don't know if proud's the right word, but, a lot of work went into that. But it is funny just to hear that they come into my village, which I do live in a village, and they're like, hey, check out this, you got to go check out this guy's garden. And then Matt last year was because of my sunflowers. I had some gray stripe mammoth. Some of them were well over 15 foot, and some what are they? Not sunburst. I think they were called sunburst, but they're very similar to this style. These Mexican sunflowers, except they're about twice as tall. They get to about 12 to 13 foot, but they'll have. I mean, some of them had upwards of 18 heads on them, sunflower heads, and they're the that I don't know what the shade is to call it. Auburn, I guess it'd be it. I don't know the actual shade here. So, but it was like that that burnt orange and yellow. It was really pretty. All right, so I've got to get another one of these. You can pick these up at any of the home stores. So this is a zinc. It's got a zinc spike in it, but it's for the hose, especially on these little sunflowers here. Even after they get bigger, I don't want to be in a point where I'm pulling the hose, against them like that. So, well, that's not what I wanted. That's why we do stuff live, folks. You can see people make mistakes just like that. So anyways, yeah, down here. So now I got the hose, right? It'll come in here, boom. Just rides right along there, taking care of that guy. So I'm gonna grab one more. Be right back. There you go. Got this one here. So got this other one we'll be popping in right here. So yeah, hey, welcome to the stream, everybody. It's good to have you on here. Move you out of here a little bit and kind of see more we've done. So we've taken care of. We got 3 of our here. These are your, get over there, dude. Don't be so silly. Got 3 of those are Mexican sunflowers, and then we've got it was a little change of plans here, was getting a some lilac bushes put in too. They were there. I made a decision. My wife just laughed, and then I bought them. So now we're here. So the other pieces, just making sure I've got those, basically those hose wheels, so that when I'm bringing the hose around, it won't be an issue. Matter of fact, I'm going to lift this guy up just a little bit. I think that's what I want to do here. There we go. There we go. All right, that's lifted up a bit. Okay, so again, if you're new to the stream, welcome. I come live here pretty much every day. Not every day, but during the weekdays, between 3 and 5. Just working out here, either in my yard or my garden, just working on stuff. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do. I think you'll enjoy it. You know, hit that notification bell. You can hear when we go live. So the other thing, if you don't have knee pads, invest in them. You will be forever thankful. All right, now with this, again, this is a Mexican sunflower here, and you can see it's got a few months on it. You got about 2 months worth of growth here right now. It's been in the greenhouse, living its best life, been getting plenty of wind. But you'll see how it's branching off here. This ends up being a 5 to 7 foot tall bush and about 5 feet wide. A whole bunch of red daisy-like sunflowers that pop off of here. Hummingbirds love it. Lots of butterflies. A lot of the pollinators dig this thing, and that's really the big thing. Is I want as many flowers as I can around the property. Get them over here. I'll also take care of my vegetables that I have in the garden too. So this is going to be up against my privacy fence here. We got a main road over here, and in between that, as you can see, I'm also putting in on a permanent. Those are our lilac bushes that'll be coming in, and those get they're like 12 foot tall and 8 feet wide. And this in my area, this is a annual. It dies off, which is fine. Gives me something new to grow in the greenhouse during the winter. So, all right, now with this, I want to treat this a little bit differently than I do the others, just because it's going to be right here by my gate. So where I would normally put it would be a little bit different, but in this case, I want it right here, right in this area here. And tomorrow is going to be the day where I come in and do cleanup on this whole side, because there's a bunch of work that needs to get done still in the house, but I want to get these in the ground here. Well, still relatively, at least I'm getting the sunflowers in now. They just need to be in so they can start growing, getting their it's prime growing season for them. But I need to get these bushes and these trees in the ground now, because if this spring, quote unquote spring we've had, is any basically indicator of what we're gonna have for summer, is it ever gonna be wild? It's probably gonna be probably a hot, dry summer. I just have a feeling, which, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Oh, and this is the other thing. So in my property here too, This is another thing we deal with here in Michigan, is our clay. But look at that clay. I could take that right now, put that on a potter's wheel, and I could make, if it was olden days, I would make an ashtray for my grandma. All right, but so this is the other thing that we deal with here. It kind of stresses our plants out a little bit when we first start them off. Is this clay layer? Because for those that may or may not be familiar with the area in Michigan, we kind of had this big ice sheet over the top of us for a few million years, and there we're at. It was near like an underwater like lake type thing, so it laid down all this silt, i.e., which is basically clay. And this is about as pure as clay as you can get in our area. I mean, right there, I just wiped it off, but you can see areas, it's pure clay, which is great, don't get me wrong, for moisture retention once you get started, but good Lord, those roots have got to work their tail off just to get set up in this. It ain't no good for them. So, like I say, it's one of the, I'm not like a hater of clay. I mean, I don't like it, obviously. It's a pain, but it does help the plants here for sure, especially because we're in the Midwest and we get the hot, ridiculous summers. You know, we're a little bit shielded because of the lake right here, right now, Lake Michigan, just a few miles that way, which does help. But you can see these guys are definitely ready to get out here and start doing some work, growing. But first, first things first, we gotta get them in the ground. Down here, oh my goodness, this clay stuff is terrible. Again, for backfill, it's terrible. We're just gonna get this started. Ooh, that sun just came out. Ooh, it's got toasty over here. Okay. Get a nice little drink here, help them out. There you go. Nice big chunk of. Now the thing is, when it comes to these, this plant, right? You got to know your plants too. This likes well draining soil, so this is going to be a little adventure to see how well this plant does in the heavy clays in the loam here in my area. And I think it'll do okay, but again, I still don't know. So we will just have to see. It will be an adventure. There we go. Get you in there. Get you some sun. Get you living your best life here. I think I may want to lift him up just a little bit too. I think I went a little bit too deep for the start. So let me up a little bit. Fall down. There we go. That looks a little better. Needed to come up about an inch. That makes you feel a little bit better. My bowl was a bit too big. The bowl was a bit too big on this. Let me show you what I'm doing down here. There we go. There we go. So again, I got my bowl here, which you want to have. Again, that's just going to make sure that the water is going to make its way towards the plant. So, okay. Making good time here, folks. Making good time here. One, two, three, four, five, six more plants to go. And then I got to do my big old tree. Okay, so We're gonna go this way with you. Yeah, I like this shot a lot better. There you go. All right. On to our next spot here, we're gonna be doing our next lilac. Again, we want to make sure that this is centered the best of our ability. It's gonna be right here. Again, this is a purple lilac here. Yeah, putting in today. So we're putting in purple lilac and Mexican sunflower, which is red. These should be red. So that'll look really nice here up against the white privacy fence. So, yep, that's what this one looks like. Put that in here. So now just got to get, all right, so like we did last time, we're just going to take a look at this and make sure that this is growing the way the plant wants to grow. It wants to grow out like this. Also, again, this way, or that. That's not what we want. We don't want this either. So just like that. Again, we got the plants coming this way. It's also wider this way. So it's going along the fence. Cool. All right. The last bit I just want to have here is make sure this is the starting depth is the right spot. So with this, when you're putting in your shrubs, definitely want to make sure you start them off, far enough away. You want to make sure that they're definitely starting off far enough away. So when they send their runners out, runner's not the right word, and they're not suckers either. But basically they're just the new growth that they have. You want to ensure. Right, let me just check them there quick. Yep. You want to ensure that it is, the right distance away here. Because when this thing starts, and I'll be able to show you on this plant, it's got, it already has. We'll go ahead and call them. We'll call them suckers just for the, the suckers that this has growing off of it. I know there's an official term for it, but I'm lost on it. Don't have it top of mind right now. We'll take a look at that so you guys can see. All right, so, oh yeah, that is just obnoxious. This soil that's down here, it's the stuff of nightmares. There's a clay layer, and we've got a sand layer that is compressed over time, just turned into which with a shovel isn't too bad, but when my brother and I were trying to use our auger, I have a power auger, there's areas of this that it's so compressed, it is basically sandstone-ish in areas. So you've got to come in and chip at it. But this sand layer here, even now, is pretty rough. All right, so let's see. I don't think that's quite wide enough. There we go. A little bit. See how this looks. Okay, and eyeball this. So, yeah, that looks pretty good. Yep, I like that. So I was saying, they get those runners on them. You can see it's got a couple down there already. Runners isn't the right word. I also don't think that, like we were saying there, suckers the right word, but we're going to use that. So it's got the suckers, it's already starting there, which is, it's a good sign. It's a healthy plant. Again, lilacs are a rhizome. So, these little, get out of here, you guys. Grubs don't need to be going in here. Get out of there, you. I already got to worry about grubs with this. That's all right. Okay, so when you get your plant here, I'm going to give it the quick check around the top. Just make sure I don't have any roots going around the stem. Seems good. Gonna break up the bottom here a little bit. Get those roots kind of doing their thing, especially in this area here. I'm going to have a bunch of, like I was saying, they're going to be fighting through clay. So if I can get them off to a healthy start here, that's what I want to do. This guy wants to grow this way. Let's take a look at it real quick. I think I actually want to prop it up a little bit more. It's fine. I'll just break off some of this clay stuff in there and mix it up. Yeah, I tell you, that was pretty cool coming across that Mount Ash today, though. That was a nice little surprise find today. I like that a lot. Makes me pretty happy. Yeah, looks pretty good. Just got to adjust a little bit. So yeah, that coming across that was a really nice find. Definitely what I wanted to see. Yeah, you can just see this is that sand slash clay slash crap. I don't know what's better. It's just awful. Let's just call it that. It's just awful. Trying to work with it. Like it's kind of filled in before I hit it with the hose. Now, unlike the Mexican sunflower, where'd those guys go? Where did they go? Oh, there they are. Good for you. The lilacs, they don't give a crap about their soil too much. They're fine with moist. You know, they prefer, obviously, they like clay. It's amazing. That's why they do so well up here. Anything that really holds on to moisture, they're okay with. Ooh wee, that sun came out and it just got obnoxious all of a sudden. Woof. Oof. Look at this guy. Get a drink. What I'm gonna do here is recheck on the mic here. Oh, my neighbors. Now this area too, we've got a lot of people that drive by the area. It's not necessarily a highway, but it's a farm to market road, so it does have a lot of people working on it or drive on it. It's nonstop traffic coming by, wondering what's going on here. It's pretty funny. Like to keep people guessing, I guess. All right, so just a little more topsoil back down on here. It's loam. And all this is just going to end up in my compost heap for the most part. Oh, up in here. Oh, we got Nug. Hey, Olive. The wife is out with my puppy. Gotta keep the gate closed. Who's up there? Oh. Whew, okay, got that one going. And that got me quiet for a second. The heat. Let me get some water. Okay. Yeah, so welcome to the stream, everybody. It's good to have you on here. Yeah, just kind of making our way down the fence line here, getting these installed. Installed, good Lord. Getting some stuff planted today. So what we have here is, and these are Mexican sunflowers. You see, these are, I guess the name, they branch off into basically end up being like a 5 to 7 foot tall, 5 foot wide bush. It's supposed to be pretty, they're supposed to be pretty obnoxiously large, which I like. Lots of flowers is really what I'm after here. So okay, here is that. Not worried about that. Get you guys back in here. This is all just going to get some mulch on it. And we'll see what I end up doing with this yard over here. There for now. All right. So when you're like here, this is going in basically where I got a fence post at. So just basically making sure I know where the cement line is, which is right here. Because I need to make sure that the plant is out, you know, far enough to where the roots aren't going to be running into the cement, you know, basically hitting the cement too much. You know, they can work around it. Basically what I'm after here. You know, one thing, so last year, I mean, the yard came in really nice. Unfortunately, we had these massive storms come through the evening of. They finally got around to putting my the hydro seeding my yard. Well, the hydro seed didn't get a chance to fully set. So this area over here, back over here, basically washed away on me. So I kind of had to start over from zero. And when I did that, I was finally able to get some grass growing. It's fine. But the unfortunate piece with that, though, is crabgrass set up in the interim. And the areas where, you know, basically the top sheet, you know, the hydro seed, the material didn't wash away. I've got this nice firm mat of beautiful thick grass. But everywhere else where I did finally get the grass to come in, you know, it's a little bit of a problem. So yeah, but I appreciate everybody swinging by the stream today. Good stuff. Oh man, you guys can just see this stuff. What I'm basically planning into. It's just this. Like this is a mix between clay and this calcium, like a calcium sand layer. It's just atrocious. I want to be able to mix a few things here. Get some organic matter in there. Try to loosen up. All right, so with this, the idea is to make sure, see, I got plenty of roots in there. The hole is twice as wide as the container, which we have. And then backfill it. I'm going to get some fertilizer on the sides here. Help reward the plant for growing. Yep, just a little shake of fertilizer. And that's simply just also to augment the soil here too. Now what's the other part that's going to be nice about this? So this year, this little guy, he's going to go to town, right? Lift him up just a little bit. There we go. He's going to go to town, grow all sorts of roots. And we're going to start getting some new organic material deeper down than just the loam layer, which is what I want. Next year, if I plant the same thing here, I may change it up. I had a neighbor, I'm going to try them out this year to see what they look like. She gave me a pack of blue sunflowers, which are basically going to be similar to this one, obviously, except blue. See how they do. That looks well. I may just swap these out every couple of years. You know what I mean? Red one year, blue one year, yellow another, just to keep it fresh. Also keep my neighbors on their toes. You don't want them break this all up good. There we go. There's some good stuff here. This mine's good home. Cool. All right, so there we go. We got this guy in. Give them a little water now. We'll get on to our next one. I'll tell you, this is just enjoyable. A lot of fun just coming out here and spending some time out in the sunshine doing this type of work. Definitely enjoyable. Just now with this, as I mentioned a little bit earlier too, you know, these sunflowers, they typically operate, they like well draining soil, which unfortunately in this area is not what we're dealing with. We are not dealing with well draining soil at the moment. What we're dealing with is a lot of clay in here. So it's going to be a kind of testing the waters to see how we do here. All right, I like where that one's at. I think these lilacs are going to look really good once they fill out. Okay, so again, got our purple lilacs here. And this is what we're planting. See it right there. And these are, you know, with lilacs, I said they are great. They spread nicely. They fill in. This is going to look really nice. It's going to be a good spot for all of our pollinators to come in, which is really what I'm after. So let me take a look at this here. All right. So which way does this? So when you're evaluating your plants, where to put them and how to deal with them, you always want to look and see where they're growing. And for me, like I said, I prune the first year. I just kind of let them do their thing, and then I come in the next year, say, okay, this is what it wants to do, and this is where I'd like it to go. Because that's just the way I roll. All right. So this one and the other piece here. All right. So it's going against the fence, right? It's like, see how wide that is? We don't want that. We want it to be running this way. And this looks like, yeah, because it's coming, everything's coming this direction. Yeah. So we want to just do this. Especially the first year too, when it comes to these, they're already stressed out from being planted. So we do not want that necessarily to be a thing. Okay. As I mentioned before, it's the fun time. Digging holes. So I've got, just a few more plants here to do, then it's on to the big boy. We got that mountain ash we got to put in. This thing is going to be something. So all right, so here's my first hole. Now we're just going to dig out around it. Fill that out. So I hope everybody is, I don't know if you've learned anything on the stream today, or you have any experience with these lilac bushes, or just this type of putting these shrubs in. But it's always worth the time and energy, as far as I'm concerned, putting these things in, spending some time on them, and just being out in the dirt doing this stuff. You can't really beat it. So again, it's just, basically every time I do this, walking through the same stuff. You dig your hole, basically you always want it to be twice as wide, not twice as deep. That's because the roots, you want your roots, man, you can just hear that level. Come on now. You can just see this stuff. I mean, it's pretty solid. So I got to definitely make sure I break this up good. And it leads right into a clay layer too. Okay, so you want and this is one of the reasons, again, why you want your stuff to be wide and not deep. If your roots, if you only dig a hole big enough, just get your pot in, your plant in there. It's got to find a way. It's going to be stressed out trying to build roots through that. Okay, you're breaking it up for them. You're making it easier for those roots to spread and get a nice strong plant. Now, once it's established, it'll make, it'll laugh at those clay areas. Yeah, it'll force right through there, but it's got to get established first. That's the issue. Okay. This one here, right? Doesn't this? Yep, there's this way here. Now remember, when you're dealing with your plants here, you're only grabbing a hold of the stem for to stabilize, not actually putting pressure on it, because this guy goes here, it goes there. Okay, just gonna pop this in here and take a look at it real quick. Take it for a little walk. Yeah, it looks nice. Those are gonna come in really nice. Cool. All right. So the other spot is, obviously I checked the roots, but now we're gonna break these up. I want to just get in here and rough this up. We want these roots to be like, oh crap, it's go time, and get them going. So they're not, they've been living in a container for a year. So help loosen them up a little bit. Spring break, guys, or it's summertime. Get loose. There we go. Yep, there we go. Loosen them up. It's gonna be good stuff. So the other spot too is, I'll make sure that it is close to, level-ish as you can get it. Tree wants to grow straight up. Wants to grow where the sun is. So your best to make sure that it is aligned properly where you want it to go. And as I mentioned, I won't be pruning any of these guys till next year. I want to get as much unfettered growth now as I can. Just let them go. So the other spot here is, we want an obnoxious amount of water put on these. That's an official term, an official measurement. Anytime you're transplanting, doing stuff like this, just put an obnoxious, just soak them. They're stressed obviously from the transport and also being planted here. There you go. Anyways, that clay will love it. It'll zip right on past all that clay. That was a joke, by the way. The clay is just a pain. And I am going to come back through, and this is all going to get some. I've got mulch behind me, so we're gonna come and mulch this whole area. Make sure we're good. The coverage here. Okay. Continue to throw those up there. All right, on to our next spot here. All right, next area we got here is cool. We'll just bring this down right to here. There you go. On to our next one here, which is going to be our second to last for this side, Mexican sunflower. Like I said, I'm really excited to see how these do. They're supposed to get pretty large. So again, they're supposed to be 5 to 7 feet tall, which isn't high for a sunflower. but it's 5 to 7 feet, and then between 5 and 6 feet wide. This thing should be rather significant. Lots of red daisy-like flowers is what it says. So we will see what that looks like. Okay. That's nice. All right, so again, the hole that you have on here is twice as wide as the pot here, and you can see I've got all of these a little bit too deep. It's in here a little bit. There we go. Now the goal when you're doing this is a reminder, you want to have your little wormy, buddy, get you. There you go. You want to have your plants down like in a bowl. So when the water's coming, it comes down. Now with this, so unfortunately, that's what the test is for these, to see how well they do in these different areas. They may all do just fine wherever they're at. I don't know. But these plants like well draining soil. And unfortunately, where I'm at in Michigan, we have a lot of clay. So certain areas are not very well draining. And this is one of the spots where I've got a lot of clay. We're going to see. We're going to see. It's going to be a little bit of an adventure here. This guy some water. A little more water. A little more water. All right. Move on to our next spot here. Appreciate everybody swinging by the stream today. It is nice out. Hopefully y'all have plans to get out of here. So, all right, let's see. Center is right about here. Okay, so what we're looking at again, we come as far as putting your bush in. And this is the lilac. I can finally cut the. I'll wait a little bit. Still have all my labels on my fruit trees. It's because people stop by and ask what they are, and I can't remember the names of the types they are. These are just a purple lilac that we got here. So we're going to be putting this in. Now, when your thing you want to look at is figure out which way it wants to grow, right? And this plant wants to grow that way. So we want to come this way, right? This way is too narrow. This way is nice and wide, and the development wants to go that way. So we're just going to play along, okay? And again, lilac bushes, they end up being, they can get up to 12 foot tall. This thing is going to fill up this entire panel, which is what I want. So I want this panel full, and then in between I've got for this year, I mean, it's going to take a few years to fill in, obviously, but between the here and there, what I want is I have those Mexican sunflowers doing their thing. Okay, so this is one right about there. Get that first dig. Here. Now, the thing with these, with the lilacs and stuff you're doing, gotta keep in mind, they have runners. So you don't want them too close to your fence. I mean, they're gonna end up making it on the other side of this fence at some point. I'll have to cut them down, but I want them growing all on this side. All right. All right, so then that's the first hole, and then basically you can remember, you just dig out your hole. It's going to be twice as wide as the pot that you're putting in. Oh man, I'm getting some soil here. Remember, we want roots growing out, not down. Oh, get out of there, you. Here we go. All right. But, you know, it's been a day today. And we got 11, almost 12. Yeah. Figured I was going to give myself about 2 hours to do this. So that worked out well. What the heck is that? What in the world am I digging into? Oh, it's this awful soil. My brother and I, we were putting in the fence post down here. We were finding bricks. we were finding everything under the sun here. I think it was from when they built the house. This used to be an open lot. The house that was next to me, you know, they just threw them in there. You know, basically just threw it over here to get rid of some stuff. And over time, it just sunk down. Oh, yeah, my neighbor just got rid of her swing set. Huh. Interesting. There we go. All right. Got this thing mostly filled out now. All right. Last of the lilac bushes. This added a little time to my day, I can tell you that much. I'm not planning on doing these, but opportunity presented itself along with that mountain ash tree, so we're going to get that done. All right. So, again, what I just did there, I was checking for roots around the base of the tree. The shrub itself, make sure nothing was wrapped around. As it grows, it gets older, it's just going to wrap and strangle out the tree potentially. We don't want that. We don't want that for a tree. All right, now before I go too far with this one, I'm going to get this one. This one's pretty dry, so we're going to give him an extra spray. Get those roots nice and hydrated. I'm going to double check to make sure this is where I want it. Hey there. How are you doing? You guys taking the swing set? Okay. All right. That looks pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Sorry if that was a bit loud there. My bad. Okay. We making good time here. I tell you one thing. Earlier there was a lot more folks on stream. It's obviously dwindled down a little bit, which is going to happen. But that makes me happy. Not because people are just sitting there watching me. It's because I'm hoping all y'all are out, got inspired, and made your way out to your local home store, or hopefully your local nursery, small business there to help them out. I mean, I love having y'all on here, but hopefully watching this old dude get his hands in the dirt here, working on this stuff, inspires you to come out and do the same thing yourself. It's just stuff's enjoyable to do. It's just, so with this, as I mentioned before, we want an obscene amount of water is what we're looking to put on this guy. Okay, now we're just on the last bit here. Got the last one of these, and then it's on to the mountain ash tree, which is, again, wasn't on the list for today. So, okay, this guy here, I think I want to make sure this one is like right about here. think we'll do it right here. It'll come up and then, well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to try to overthink this too much. I can always just trim it. I do want it back some, though. Okay. What am I getting into down here? I'm surprised I haven't hit a tree root yet. A ton of trees over here. Okay. You can tell the areas here too that where I had this put in for the lawn, where it didn't have any erosion happen. I had quite a bit of erosion. There's a huge hill that comes down here, but like in this area, I mean, it's all loam through and through. I mean, I got almost, this is where the soil landed at. It's almost 6 inches of loam down here. They're only supposed to put in 4. So for the rest of my yard where it's super thin in areas, here's where it landed. All right. So this is a Mexican sunflower, and you see it's different than regular sunflowers. You see where it's sprouting off, different sections here. So this actually ends up being more of like a bush. It's supposed to be 5 to 7 feet tall. It's only, see, it's getting ready here. This is it's an annual here in Michigan. Other places, I think it lives a lot longer. You know, maybe do a couple years, but for here, you know, just with the winters, even though they've been more and more mild, we do still have those, you know, minus 10, minus 15 days that happen. Okay. So with this, we're just getting in the ground again. Where I put this in here, just remember, the hole is twice as wide as the actual pot, not twice as deep. Anytime you're planting anything that's potted, it's always twice as wide, because the roots, we want them growing out, not down. And if you don't have it loosened up around the sides, you know, the plant's gonna be busy spending energy sending roots around instead of growing and making flowers and all that other wonderfulness that we actually want, right? So that is why we go out of our way, make the plants, or make the holes wider than, you know, basically wide, not deep. I'm just going to get as much of this topsoil off of here as I can. Help this. Now with this, these Mexican sunflowers, they have a little bit, they're going to be challenged here, I have a feeling. So they really like well draining soil. Higher up on my property where it's the backfill from the house and it's mostly sand, I think they're going to do better. Over here, we'll see. You know, it's a lot of clay down here. And like I said, we also said that all the loam was down here. So let me get this worm, dude. Wormy, get in your home, dude. There you go. So that. All right, and then fun. Let's try to get as much here. Cool. All right, we'll give this guy a little drink, and then we are going to move on to our mountain ash. This big boy. Whew. I said it was not. Mountain ash was not on the agenda for today, but hey, what are you doing, buddy? But it was available, so again, more of a target of opportunity than anything. Give this guy a nice good soak. And like I said, I'm gonna come back through here after I get this mountain ash in the ground. We're gonna grab all this extra dirt. It's just going in my compost. Ain't gonna hurt nothing there. Okay. Whew. Good times. Now we are on to mountain ash. We're gonna go for a little bit of a walk here, kind of show you this big boy. Well, you know what? Let's take a look at the work we did on the fence today, the fence line. Oops, sorry. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So, and you see we've got here, basically every place you see a fence post, we're going to have a a Mexican sunflower, and then I've got my lilac bushes all across. And as you can see, we have some nice purple flowers there. They're ready to come out. That's pretty cool. Happy with that. All right, so then the other piece that, again, was just a target of opportunity was this guy, this mountain ash. I want one for the backyard for the birds. I haven't been found one. Of course, I went to the nursery today just to get, some mulch, which we all do, right? We all go to get mulch, and then, oops, I also decided to pick up several $100s worth of shrubs and trees. I think we all know that pain. So I don't give my wife too much crap when she goes shopping. He's there. So, all right, so let's do this. I had to do this in stages here. Show you guys my struggle as I pull this guy this way. I think I may just lift it up, to be honest. We'll see. Actually, hydrate first in a minute. Thanks to my wife, she got me this Stanley, considering she has a Stanley cup, so she got me this tiny little Stanley thermos. Made it even. Okay, flowering tree. Ooh-wee. There we go. Get this guy over here. All right. Now, I didn't know you were going to be seeing feats of strength today, did you? All right, so we're going to take it from this angle over here. We're going to just kind of see what makes sense for this tree. So I have, let's see, we have a dogwood right there. And then over in this corner, obviously I was thinking for the mountain ash. I don't want it over here. We're going to do, we're going to end up with some sort of like little pond with a little waterfall action and some other little trees over there. So sure, but I think I want this guy over here. Not sure where. I even move it just further out here, to be honest. I don't think I want it up against the... Oh. Let me think about this. Got to give this a think. Right now, oh, that could be nice for him right there. Yeah, I think I might move it over here. I'm going to try it over on the other side of the property here and see what this looks like. Maybe I will have it over here. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see how that looks over there. Yeah, landscaping in real time here, folks. Maybe I'll move it out just a little bit. Still want to leave room for some other stuff. I think that's the spot. I like the idea of this guy right here. I really do. Yeah. So I'm going to have, because this is going to have some landscaping all behind it. I try and get a few of these monuments in first, and work around it. Yeah. I think it'll be all right. Still may pull it up just a little bit further. I think that's where we're going to land. And maybe even further. Let's see. I think so. Yeah. I think that's what we're going to do. Let's see some real quick. Hey, Red. I was wondering if you can just come look at this tree where it's at. The redhead's approval. Redhead's approval on my location for this guy. So we're going to be putting this guy in the ground next. I'm pretty happy about this because I've been wanting to get a mountain ash for a minute. So let me go get my stuff. You said this was at a wasn't planned. It kind of happened out of the blue that all of a sudden they had one available. So, whew. I think for now I just need the shovel and the hose. Make everything else work later. All right, coming. Okay. That was almost a thing. Well, I think I'm going to have some happy birds now. At least that's my thoughts. Happy birds. Somebody want to pull this a little further out even still. Because it wants to grow this way. Yeah, it wants to grow this way, so we're going to let it. Okay, so let's take a look at this thing. Okay, so we can get this guy in the ground. I think, yeah, because I'm planning out to here. This one I can expand out to a larger piece. Maybe we'll bring it a little bit further back here. Maybe this is the spot I was saying. So I'm going to come out to about here. That'll let me do a nice and wide on this. Keep here. The rest of that's okay. Yeah, I think that'll be all right. Now it's just making sure we are equidistant here. So just doing some measurements here. Post 1, 2, 3, 4, 3/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I thought, come this way just a little bit. Okay. So this is where I'm looking at. That's what I mean. This is where I'm looking at. I want this thing over here. Main area I'm going to be watching from right here. This is the viewpoint. Yeah, that's better. Give her a turn, we'll be there. Sweet. Okay, time to get a big old mountain ash in the ground. So, I think you guys have heard me say this before, but I will say it again. Always they give you directions on these things for a reason. So, regardless of what I'm doing, I always take a moment and make sure I read it. So, this mountain ash. Keep it here. Is this it? These are all lilacs. Mountain ashes get pretty big. They're not huge or anything, but this one's got another, 8 to 10 feet in it, and then it's going to get nice and wide on me here. All right, so we're just going to read through directions again. So yeah, we're in a good spot here. It's got plenty of room for it to grow. And again, this is just where you go back to. You're going to dig a hole deep as the root ball, but twice as wide. And we want the top of the soil level with the root ball. Yep, and then, all right, easy peasy. Gonna be adding lots of water. So let's get to this here. Wow, like I say, I appreciate everybody hopping on the stream today. This has been a wild one today. Was not expecting all of this. But this is a good find. Just double check. Look on this guy here. Just as a reminder, when you're dealing with your plants here, with your trees, this is a guy that's got a nice solid stem to it. This is still good. This is a good trunk, but this is only meant to be for basically just in order for stability. You're not actually lifting it by this thing, okay? Bad things happen when you do that. We don't want to do that. Okay, and this guy's got a hole right here. Scoop this guy out of the way. There is a long way out of the way here. Okay. Here is the indentation for what the base of the pot looks like that we're going into. We're just going to cut this out first. We've gotten so much rain. Like, I literally just mowed this too, and it's already grown. Well, I've already got two inches of growth on it in a couple days. It's just insane how much growth we've had. Okay, now this guy is as deep as the spade, the shovel here. So I want to make sure we dig down to that. Is our baseline. Okay, now we're going to go basically twice as wide. So this thing is just about the same as the shovel. We're just going to make this into a little donut. Just kind of follow it all the way around. Dig this whole thing out. And we want this nice and wide. This thing has a bunch of roots in it. It's growing a bunch of roots. So we want to make sure it's got plenty of space to spread those roots. Comes out in sections. Nope. Look at that. Last bit there, last bit there. Our next spot. Going down here. Like I said, I'm really glad that this live stream for the most part emptied out. Hopefully y'all are making your way to the, to your local box store, your local nursery. Today's channel, today's stream, I was hoping to inspire everybody to get out there and go do some stuff. And if you did today, that's awesome. Did my job. But, what do we find? What did the glaciers leave for us this time? Always something. So let's see. Got a little piece of Canada here. Toss it over here. With the rest of my Canadian stash of rocks. All right. Making good headway on this. So the other thing too, when you're doing your trees and you're planting them, as I mentioned before, and I will continue to say it, take your time. Don't rush this stuff, folks. Pay good money for these plants. You want to make sure that they're going to be as successful as possible. So, here we go. Oh. Oh man, this guy is going to be a pain to get off. I already tell. Well, this one's going to be sacrificed. So I don't need another. I have so many of these. I don't need another one. I just hate throwing them away. I always seem to be able to find a use for them. This time, oh my goodness, all these roots in here. There we go. Oh, get it off. There we go. All right, so now we are going to do something I typically don't do, but in this case, this guy's pretty root bound, so I want to do a few things ahead of time here. We are basically so we're going to take a little time here. I'm going to take a little time here and just spray this guy off. I'm going to move my mic over here. Last thing, guys. No, I'm just looking for roots right now. Get this guy. There's a big tree, so I want to make sure. Guys. That looks good. Oh, so it'll pop out there. There you go. Down just a little bit. All right, so that's much better now. But that looks, I just got to get her leveled off. We'll be off to the races here. That is some solid stuff here, folks. That is branching this way. There you go. Sorry for the lack of commentary, folks. Just kind of focusing a little bit here. Just a couple of these spots I just want to loosen up a little bit. All right, there we go. Whew, that took long enough. Hopefully that wasn't too scary for too many people. My hands, I'll let them dry a little bit. A lot of water I was dealing with. Before I start throwing stuff in, let me take one more look at it here. Did that just come off? Oh, there it is. Can't lose that. Yeah, that looks good right there. I like that. I like that a lot. Whew. Well, today has been a day. I can give you that much. All right. That's great. Okay. Now, backfill time. Again, with this, I've got the top of the root ball right back up with where my soil line is, so that's no problem whatsoever. Then we get our mulch going in here. Listen, I get my mulch in here. We'll make our basically a little water dam to have stuff flowing back down into it. It'll be pretty good. Okay. Whew, I'm a tired guy today. I am smoked. I was, like I said, I did not have this much on the agenda when I started off today. So, however, like as always, you gotta be willing to, adapt, make some changes, which we are. And tonight we're supposed to get a bunch of rain, which I'm thankful for. Be good. Gonna help with this whole area. That's for sure. Help backfill this stuff in. Yeah, I'm excited for the birds though. Gotta give them some places to hang out in my yard and over the neighbor's yard for any cover. If they want to have any bird feed or bird seed or anything. So like this whole area here, I'm going to be coming in later this year with some different, annuals, some bulbs, basically to plant in here to build on my landscaping. Got like a multi-tier idea, kind of planned out. And then I think like even right here though, I think this is the area where I'm going to put my my small pond with like a little waterfall. The birds can come in here, chill out, get some water, live their best life. Just hang out in my yard. We get to be besties instead of them just hanging out my neighbors. Sammy getting all the birds. I do have my bird houses out in the garden. This has definitely got a lot of water in it right now, obviously, so we're going to overload this with soil just to make sure I've got a large base here, because like I said, it is really wet right now. It's good. That means when it dries out here in a little bit, over time, the roots are going to fill in, going to chase that water in here. We'll have a nice wide base for support, which is what we want. Stuff in here. A good stomp. You can see that's all. This is all mud pie action here. Okay, which isn't terrible, but okay. Then we're gonna load this area up with all this loam instead of just tossing it out. Then I'll just try to get the mulch down here in a second. We'll probably gonna break for lunch and I'll come out here later and put my stakes down. So I think we're gonna end the stream right there today. So it was good hanging out with everybody. Got a lot of work done here. It's a busy day. It's a 2.5 hour stream. Old man here wasn't ready to put in all these trees and shrubs, but we got her done. Let's go take a look at what we did. So here we got the mountain ash that wasn't on the plan. It's pretty good in there. It's gonna be a nice tree. And lots of fruit for my birds. And then the rest of the spots here. Here's my oriole over there. We've got the whole area there done. Our Mexican sunflowers in. Lots of lilac bushes. So all things considered, it's a good stream today. Appreciate y'all hanging out. I will see you next time.